Today I'm going to take a look at Abode, a potential contender for one of the smartest and most reliable smart home security systems that I've tried so far, but with a few things that could possibly hold it back. Welcome back to another episode of Stu's Reviews. This episode is sponsored by Lockit, but more on those guys later. So in the studio today, I've got the Abode Smart Security Kit, which could be considered their core product. I've also got a few other bits that I've been taking a look at too, such as their Wi-Fi streaming camera and water leak sensor. So let me show you a closer look at these pieces of kit before I share my thoughts on the entire system. But before I do, if you find today's episode helpful to you at all, or if you enjoyed watching, it will mean the world to me if you could just hit that thumbs up after watching today's episode. But for now, let's take a look at Abode. This is just a sample of the Abode system. Abode make a significant number of security devices for a really comprehensive security setup, and all connected to a single central hub. This hub looks rather sleek, although the black gloss finish will forever be impossible to clean properly, the same as on their smart camera. The rest of the devices from Abode follow the same simple white aesthetic and don't particularly stand out. Exactly what you want from a security system, unobtrusive but always watching. So let's pick apart each bit individually. Right, let's get the obvious elephant out of the corner of the room and talk about the hub. Those of you who are avid followers of Stu's Reviews will know just how much I dislike hubs. Nearly everything has a bloody hub these days, as if manufacturers couldn't be bothered to come up with a better method of integration. It's ridiculous. However, my mind changed when I set the hub up, because it does a lot more than just sit in the corner and gather dust. First of all, it has a built-in 93 decibel siren for alerting, and believe me, it's extremely bloody loud. Jesus Christ. Jesus bloody hellfire. It's also got 4G capabilities, so that if your Wi-Fi system goes down, your security system doesn't go down with it. And then it's also got a built-in backup battery in case there's a power cut, so you're never going to lose that security, which is one of the massive problems with systems from companies like Arlo, who, although make some fantastic stuff, if the internet or power goes down, then you won't get any notifications of security risks. These features make having this an absolute delight rather than a curse like most gateway hubs are. So once you've got the hub set up and ready to go, the pairing of the rest of the items in the starter kit is really straightforward. All you have to do is remove the battery protectors and they pair up immediately, making setup super easy. Now the camera was another story, but I'll get onto that shortly. The door sensors are simple to install, and they come with a sticky back to stick them wherever you want, on doors or windows of course. Once up, they work immediately, signified from a beep from the hub when the two halves are parted, and it's got an incredibly quick response time, which is almost instantaneous. The motion sensor was the same, simply stick it where you want and you're good to go. Again, not too much to say about these other than they work extremely quickly and extremely well with the starter kit as a whole. Now the key fob, which is another part of the starter kit, at first I was a little bit unsure about it, but having used it, it's actually a really integral piece of the system and allows you to arm and disarm without having to use the voice or the app control. Now with my Arlo system, I've set a hidden flick button out of the way that I can press and it arms the entire system on the way out with Arlo. Now this is great, but I'm relying on two different products connected by a third-party system with IFTTT. Now this is okay, but it adds a lot of opportunities for problems to arise. Now with Abode and the key fob is directly connected, so no other companies or products or middleman connection software needs to be involved, essentially negating any risks of any problems. And it also means that I can arm it quickly with a physical button from anywhere on the property as long as I have my keys on me. Now that's everything in the starter kit, which is already paired up to the hub. The camera, which came separately, as I mentioned, I had to pair myself, and it took a few goes to get it working. Now for some reason the app wouldn't find it for about 30 minutes. Eventually it discovered it for no discernible reason at all. I didn't do anything different. Also, the method is a bit awkward too. You have to first plug it in via Ethernet so that you can get it working on Wi-Fi, which is quite a big difference from many of the smart Wi-Fi cameras on the market today, which usually go through a Wi-Fi pairing process using wireless from the offset, so you don't have to mess around with Ethernet. Now this won't be an issue if your hub is out in the open, but mine is shoved in the most awkward place in the world currently, so it was a little bit of a pain in the bum to get it set up in the way that Abode want you to. But once you've actually gone through the horrors of the pairing process, you can view the live feed in the app. And the camera, well, it's got a good FOV and at 1080p 30fps with two-way audio and low light night vision, it'll probably make a staple part of your setup. However, its base capabilities are held back a little by Abode's paid plans. And here is where things get a little bit confusing. On their website, there is no mention of a free plan at all. And in fact, under the FAQ, there's a question stated, can I use Abode without a paid plan? With the first word of the answer being a rather definitive no. But this isn't strictly true. At this moment in my app, I'm not using any plans at all, which allows me to arm my system, which will arm the sensors, triggering the siren if any of them go off and alerting me on my phone if something has been triggered. I can then go into the app and view the cameras or check the sensors to see what's being tripped, disable the siren, and rearm the system. So, in fact, there is some basic functionality on the free plan. If you do decide, however, that you want a few more features, then you'll need to subscribe. Now, even the basic package is pretty comprehensive, unlocking 4G connectivity for the hub, the ability to use on-demand monitoring, which is where you can essentially choose to have 24/7 monitoring by an accredited UK monitoring station so that you don't have to worry about your security whilst you're, say, on holiday, which is actually a really handy feature that Abode allow you to pay for as you go rather than having to fork out a huge amount every single month for this feature. It's essentially like having your own personal security team on call. Now the base package will set you back currently at about £3.60 a month, but to be honest, if you have an Abode system, the package that is going to be of the most value to you in terms of accessing some of the better features is the Intermediate at £7.99 a month. This one allows you to pair up multiple cameras, use the geofencing functionality, and more importantly, use something called Q automations or CUE automations, which gives you far greater control of your security system. The CUE system essentially allows you to create some similar automations to IFTTT. So for example, if one thing is triggered or a condition is met, then it can do things like notify you or set the alarm off, for example. Now this isn't the only system to use this type of automation control, but I would say that Abode's CUE system or Q system possibly has the most options for automation than any I've tested so far, for extremely fine-tuning of how your security system responds to triggers. It's just a shame that it's hidden behind a paywall. Now, as a teeny tiny footnote here, it's not unusual for security companies to hide this level of feature set behind a paywall. Many have very similar pricing and features across the board for subscription packages. It's just a shame that some of these features that I myself would regard as integral to the entire experience are hidden behind a paywall. So, going back to the camera, because a lot of this automation stuff to do things like record a video upon alarm trigger is hidden behind paywall, it makes it pretty useless, in all honesty, on the free plan. And with the lack of any form of motion detection or AI detection or for pets, parcels, vehicles, that sort of thing, it's not a very smart camera. Which is exactly why Abode are bringing out the Cam 2 really soon in the UK, which has person detection and rich notifications, to name just a few of the new features shown on the website. So that's quite exciting. Also seemingly at a very good price as well, because it's currently available in the US at just $35. Now, if it does indeed work as advertised, then it'll definitely put it on par with something like the Arlo system, potentially even slightly ahead when comparing other abilities and the cost at $35. When it comes to overall app use, I do have a few criticisms. There's a certain amount that's relatively simple, but there's no tutorial, and the naming conventions are quite confusing as well. They're not really in keeping with the rest of the industry. For example, there's no arm or disarm button, and instead you've got standby, home and away, but confusingly putting it in home mode arms all of the door sensors, which doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense. If I'm home, I don't want the alarms going off. So overall, I'd say that it's not the most user-friendly interface that I've ever used, and it takes quite a bit of fiddling before you become accustomed with the operations of it, which is often hindered by warnings popping up all over the place, such as this one telling me that the monitoring centre will contact the authorities if I'm on the correct plan. It sort of makes you want to stop pressing buttons for fear of a police raid breaking down my front door. Now, the price of the Abode starter set comes to around £275, which is the hub, the 2 door sensors and 1 motion sensor along with the key fob. Now, this might seem a little steep, but I think I'm actually happy to overlook the higher price for the better services that Abode seem to provide when compared to some of the cheaper, less reliable options. You can buy all of it separately or as add-ons if you wanted, and things like the camera run at around £120, which is why I'm a little surprised that the Cam 2 is only $35 in America at the moment. That's a massive price difference. But I do recognise that all of this is quite pricey compared to others. But do you know what? Of all of the security systems I've tried, I would say that Abode seemingly is one of the most reliable. And with its advanced backup features, along with some of the extra things like the higher tier packages can offer, I'm okay with overlooking the price a little bit. But there's one more thing worth mentioning here, and that's that by having Abode, you can actually save money. And this is where this month's sponsor comes in. Lockit is possibly one of the most interesting services for the smart home enthusiast that I've come across, because it actually rewards you for having a smart home. Unlike many insurance providers out there, Lockit takes into account your smart home tech to give you a fairer price on your home insurance. When you download the app, you can manually add what smart home security devices you have, or you can ask Lockit to scan your network to automatically discover the devices. Lockit will then apply a discount based on how well protected your smart home is. Not only this, but if you want to get your hands on more smart home tech to get even more discounts on your insurance, you can buy supported products directly in the app, and often at a discount too. If you sign up within the next 30 days, Lockit are offering a bonus £25 Amazon voucher when you use my link in the description. And the best thing is, there's no contracts and no admin fees for using Lockit. So go and click that link and check it out. If your home is smart, then your home insurance should be smart too. But back to Abode. I think it's a really strong product that comes across well made and reliable, but I do believe it's sometimes let down by its unfriendly and sometimes inconsistent and occasionally a little confusing interface. The thing is, I'm not shy to home automation, nor am I inexperienced in security systems, having tested and used extensively Arlo, Blink, Eufy, Xiaomi, Imou, Reolink. But even myself on occasion had to fumble around in the app for quite a while to discover how to do a particular thing. I think Abode are sitting on a fantastic product here, but there are a couple of things I would like to see from them. The first would be a smarter camera system, which it would appear that they're implementing with the addition of the Abode Smart Camera 2 and at a fantastic price point as well. So that's a really exciting update that I cannot wait to try. And the second is better transparency and support for the free element of Abode. As I mentioned earlier, the definitive no in the FAQ isn't strictly true. This is likely because the features are really watered down if you don't subscribe. So I think they kind of want to guide you into subscribing to a plan right from the very start. But it would be great to see them embrace just a more robust, free model of the system, perhaps opening up the automation to everyone instead of it being behind that paywall, because I believe that this particular type of function is such an integral part of any security system that it should just be included as a standard, no matter what brand you decide to go for. Perhaps the only other thing that I would like to see will be a slight change in the interface to make it a little bit more user-friendly and to use maybe industry standard terms to simplify its use, like arm and disarm, especially if they're going to continue with very little tutorials available. If Abode can make these small changes, I think they're without a doubt sitting on an absolute cracking product and perhaps one of the most advanced, comprehensive and reliable smart security systems that's available at the moment. And that concludes my thoughts on the Abode system. Guys, as a reminder, if you want to take a look at Lockit to save some money on your home insurance using your smart home, then the link is below. Please go and check it out. And if you found today's episode useful, don't forget to hit that thumbs up along with that subscribe and notification bell if you want to see more. And I'll see you back for another episode of Stu's Reviews soon.